San Jose hosted for the first week in January the National College Football Playoff Championships. We transformed, even though the game was at Levi Stadium, you remember it was Clemson against Alabama, downtown was the campus for all of the activities. San Pedro Square, we laid turf down like we did for the Super Bowl. Plaza Park was where ESPN had their live broadcasts. We rebranded Championship Ice. Discovery Meadow was where the concert venues were held. We got 2 out of 3 in, and then we had this huge storm that rained out the third concert. Immediately after that, we hosted the NHL All-Star Game downtown with everybody, all the hockey fans coming from all around Canada and the U.S. We rebranded the ice rink again, and we got to see the Stanley Cup up close and personal. The Sharks had an incredible year, including this legendary game, beating Vegas in Game 7 at the Shark Tank and bowing out in the conference finals. We played deep into May, and a lot of drama this week with the team. We'll see where this season ends up. Does anybody remember how the mayor began his year on New Year's Day? He was hit by a car. He broke 2 vertebrae in his sternum, and I think we all were very fortunate that he was alive. He got fitted in this like ectoskeleton brace, and he didn't miss a week of work. It was quite a year for the mayor on a lot of his initiatives around energy, education, and especially the environment, working with the council on Coyote Valley protections. It was also a productive year for the Downtown Association. Trying to address our Mesa-like skyline, the City Council approved in March a higher downtown. After many, many years, 10 years in fact, of study and work, we finally got the OEI limits. Essentially, it ended up about 35 extra feet, depending on where you are in the core of downtown, and a doubling on the west side of downtown, more than 150 feet of extra height on the west side. And obviously this matters because we can have a denser city and support much more. And so many people deserve credit for getting this over the finish line, but I want to give the tallest shout out to the city's aviation director, John Aiken, for making this happen. The San Jose Downtown Association Downtown Doors program received the prestigious Creative Impact Cornerstone of the Arts Award from the city this year. And what a program this has been over 16 years. We had 220 submissions this year from high school students to select 20 pieces of art. Each artist receives $600 cash and an Adobe Suite package. Each of the selected students' teachers get $500 for art supplies at their school. And over the years, we've had more than 290 installations throughout downtown. Thank you to the San Jose Downtown Foundation trustees and all of the students and their art teachers over the years for this program. Our downtown councilman, Raul Perales, also had a very busy year. He was cutting ribbons, giving plaques, providing support, because we had a super good year of business openings throughout the downtown, including margaritas at Taco Bell and vegan slices at Pizza Flora. From San Jose State on the west to Little Italy, San Jose State's on the east to Little Italy on the west, we had smiling police chiefs, murals going up everywhere, parades, and business conventions and fun conventions, including our usual Comic-Con and Fanime, and it's always great to see the cosplay at Quetzalcoatl. The flexibility and consistency we have in this city, it really starts at the top with our professional staff. I can't remember the last time I stood up in front of you and could say that every single department head in the city was filled. There isn't one interim, acting, or vacant position at the city right now. And kudos go to the professional leadership. Really, the leadership of Dave Sykes can't be underestimated in what he's done in the partnerships with the private sector and the third sector groups. Yeah, we have a lot of process, a lot of meetings. Yeah, there's a lot of hard-headedness out there. And we do have very tough issues that we're dealing with affordability, with homelessness, with housing. The spear point might be on the west side of downtown with the Google development plans. 84 acres spanning 2 council districts. This is the big move that we've been working on for the last couple of years. Google has presented a plan that uses a city street grid, uses our green spaces, and some of the city's natural attributes. This was just from last week, which again fell flat because most San Jose's embrace the Google development. And it's no wonder they do. It's got housing, it's got jobs, it's got cultural amenities in buildings. It has 15 acres of parks and green space. It offers all of this development right next to transit that's going to get traffic off our streets and help our climate. And it's going to take these underutilized and low-density buildings and create new, sustainable, active uses on the west side. This has always been our redevelopment plan, far before Google was even a glimmer in our eyes. The idea was to intensify the uses and connect to the core. Google's plans are still in development, but what they're presenting is a mixed-use plan of high, of low buildings that build upon the city's best attributes: the train station, Los Gatos Creek, our weather, incorporating all of this in a way that is our most inclusive, smart growth. And when you look at the low-slung west side of downtown, you have to think, man, we have to densify this area and do more. And you can see how naturally downtown can move on this side. Everybody here knows I'm a big fan of acronyms. We need an acronym for Downtown West. Do we know the way to San Jose? Remember, you heard it here first this morning. As I said, the planning, the community meetings, the Google SOG process is contemporaneous with the Diridon Station process. There's so much work going on the west side. So we have a full year of planning, of more community engagement ahead of us. And really one of the big kind of unsung successes, I think, of the last year is these 4 organizations: the city, Caltrain, High Speed Rail, and VTA, working together to make sure that the station that we build on the west side of downtown in the Dewey district is going to work for everybody's mode of transportation. Their concept is an elevated station. It would be it would have 2 entrances, one on Santa Clara Street, one on San Fernando Street. It would accommodate buses and shuttles and other modes of transportation around it. BART would not be elevated. BART's going to be underground in a tunnel, and it would have transit-oriented development above it. Now, you know, BART's having some trouble getting open right now. It's very complicated working with somebody who's building it in a different organization that's operating it. We still don't have a timetable for when the Milpitas and the Berryessa service is going to begin. We're thinking sometime in the spring. Nevertheless, on December 28th, VTA is going to roll out its new fares and bus routes, and that will be the end of the Dash service after 23 years. For BART Phase 2 through downtown, it's going to be in a tunnel. The main BART station in downtown is going to be right under Santa Clara Street. Here is an artist's rendering of what that station might look like. You're looking straight down on the VTA block, and the station entrance is mid-block between Market Street on the bottom of the screen and First Street. The big move last year was the approval of the single-bore tunnel. This year, the big decision was making it be center platform instead of stacked tracks. That's required a deeper, larger tunnel and a lot more engineering. That in turn has pushed out the BART schedule 4 years to 2030. There are other transportation modes, obviously, downtown that we're dealing with. Bikes, scooters. We have a new rail up on 2nd Street, just across the street, to see if we can get light rail trains to move quicker. And cars. How are we going to park our cars? Our Department of Transportation got a whole bunch of new revenue control equipment to make our garages operate more efficiently. But the writing is on the wall. Parking is going to be scarcer as we develop the surface parking lots, and it's going to get more expensive. We're already starting to see some of our development projects being proposed with zero parking. Downtown West may not be the place that development really gets going first. It could be right here on Park Avenue. J. Paul has been moving its tenants out of City View Plaza. The buildings are all planned to be redeveloped. This is the original Park Center Plaza blocks that are proposed for this. Almost 3.5 million feet of offices in a multiple building high-rise complex. Directly across the street, J. Paul broke ground just last month at 200 Park Avenue, right at the corner of Park and Almaden Boulevard, on this sleek 875,000 square foot office building. This all fits into the city's Park Paseo vision that would connect San Jose State on the east with the river and downtown west. I want to express our appreciation at the Downtown Association for J. Paul that moved all of its Park Avenue palm trees to some of the holes on Almaden Boulevard, also kind of in context with the Park Paseo plan. Another big move on the street, City Council approved just last week Museum Place plans with urban community, which also includes space for the Tech Interactive on the ground floor. And Kitty Corner, let's not forget, that's Adobe's headquarters. They're busy under construction right now with their 4th tower, which is going to include a bridge over San Fernando Street. This gives you an idea of these high-profile projects and how they might fit into an entirely redesigned Park Avenue, ultimately making Park Avenue downtown's most prestigious address. We actually opened a few buildings this year. The James opened on the corner of St. John and First Street. It's opened in the fall, and they've already leased about 40 of their 190 apartments. That's a Fairfield project. Silicon Sage's Aura is already half leased, their 101 apartments on Ballback Street. We are incredibly proud of these 2 permanent supportive homeless housing projects. This is 2nd Street Studios and Villas on the Park. This is the way that we're going to end homelessness, is building projects like this. And believe it or not, an office building was quietly opened this year. This is Sobrato's 3rd River Corporate Campus Center, all leased to the County of Santa Clara. We have a number of buildings that are close to opening. The AmCal Swenson project, the GRAD, Core Development Spark, might even make it before the end of the year. Modera, Mill Creek's Modera in San Pedro Square. And we've got some big projects under construction, including Bayview's Miro Towers, right across from City Hall, and smaller projects like Equidity's Firestone project in SOFA, Market and Ballback. We also have a number of older existing buildings that are under rehabilitation in the historic district. And who can recognize our newest crane in downtown? Anybody know where that's at? That's the science building on the San Jose State campus under construction. Look, we've got development proposals coming out of our ears. So how do we take the pretty pictures and the plans and all the entitlements and turn them into real construction projects? You know, I know downtown Gary's going to ask me right after this, you know, what's going to be the next project out of the ground? So I'll hazard a guess. For office, I'm thinking it'll be Boston Properties Platform 16, 1 million square feet in Dewey. You can see the Shark Tank there on just south of this project. For high-rise resi, man, that's tougher. With, you know, our rent structure and our construction costs, I don't know. I'll hazard a guess that it will be Garden Gate by our prolific downtown developer, KT Urban, or perhaps Star City, the co-living dorms for adult project at 199 Bassett. I'm a lot more optimistic about some of our mid-rise projects getting out of the ground, like this handsome building at 30 South First Street, right on Fountain Alley. And look at the top of this building. Do you know what that is? That's a rutoba. What's a rutoba, you say? Well, let's ask an expert.
Let's talk real estate for your real-a-date. It's all about location, location, location. Your best bet? Yeah, it's gonna be a rutoba.
I'm sorry, a what?
A rooftop bar, Colin.
Oh.
Regardless if it's rooftop bars, hotels, housing, offices, downtown skyline is going to change. So are our parks. What's going to happen at St. James Park? Are we going to fulfill our grand vision or compromise? Pellier Park, how is it going to be incorporated into that new North San Pedro neighborhood? And our friends who have a design competition going for urban confluence over on Arena Green in Guadalupe River Park, what is the iconic design that's going to emerge over there? As we're adding new tech businesses and continuing to diversify our business base downtown, there are headwinds. There are fees, there's codes, there's new taxes coming, and all of this adds to the cost of doing business. The affordability issues are not going away. That means it becomes more political. And we have a 6-to-5 divide on our council throughout this year between the progressives and the moderates. I gave a speech in October talking about how important our upcoming local elections are. And believe it or not, the California primary has been moved to March. We're less than 90 days away from voting. Fortunately, we have lots of distractions from that downtown, especially with our wonderful arts that provide so many opportunities for learning, education, science, and accessibility, our performing arts. We even have trash cans that wax poetic. Muralists see canvases everywhere. And here is a historic sign on San Carlos Street that has recently been restored. Downtown Association, working with the city, did a perception survey this year. And probably not surprising, we found that younger respondents reacted favorably to downtown. And that really changed the way that we did marketing this year with our posts, with our digital, with our content, with the way that we tried to develop messages for attracting new audiences downtown, including developing new branding and working with new partners like WeWork on the wonderful 4-month backyard temporary installation in Fountain Alley, and also partnering with Yelp to do a whole week of activities with Yelp that included a new event that we produced, which included beer and food and fun. We also did a mural tour and a cocktail crawl that was very, very important. The mural tour was sold out on pedicabs, and it helped to influence how we approached the events that we produce and how we communicate differently and do outreach for the events and the type of audiences that we're after, families. San Pedro Square, there was a great experiment spearheaded by Councilman Perales again to try to see if an improvement could be made by doing a pilot project closing the street for a number of weekends, including this Friday night in August. Dine Downtown, you know, restaurants are one of the places that downtown does really well, and this restaurant week is a chance to get foodies trying some different menus around town. Music in the Park, we tried different things this year too, including booking Teen Vogue sensation Kuko, and the teenagers did show up. We had about 2,000 14-year-old girls and about 500 parental chaperones in the back of the park. And one of the, you know, music in the park has always brought people together. And one of the ways to really see all the faces of San Jose. And it really reminds me of how universal a smile can be. And I put this in for Daniel Garcia. This is my favorite photo in the show. It's the golden light, time, you got the palm trees, you got the museum, and you got the soul of the singer, and this really captured the concert series this year for me. Hey, SOFA, nothing, well, I want to give a shout out to Urban Community that has a number of buildings in SOFA, which is sharing them, interim uses, Bowtown, Valley Title, sharing the buildings both inside and out. Nothing says SOFA more than the SOFA Street Fair and the Rocky Horror Lips on San Jose Stage Company. You know, downtown takes its punches and keeps going on. We lost one of our legendary developers, Kimball Small, this year. Safeway closed. We have a whole block on Santa Clara Street that's papered over. And we still have homeless encampments and sleeping on our sidewalks. And who do you think picks up the Dos Equis bottles and the Spam cans? Thank goodness for Groundworks. They're working 7 days a week in the downtown. They're keeping the downtown clean. They're keeping it attractive. They're keeping it beautiful. And we know that you like the service, but we want to hear more from you. If you haven't, please download the free Groundworks app, report messes, concerns to us in real time, and we will be responding. The PBID is a lot more than just Groundworks. All of the flowers that you see downtown is part of our work that we do to try to just make it more friendly when you're out on our sidewalks in the public spaces. We also do decorative lighting installations like this new installation in Globe Alley and this one on Post Street that were recently installed. We also care for downtown's urban forests, which means trimming trees and making sure that the bases of the trees aren't getting girdled by outgrowing their grates, replacing those. And then when there are holes, planting new trees and stewarding this wonderful urban forest that we enjoy downtown. Murals have always been a part of the PBID work since we started, and larger projects too, like Moment on San Pedro Square, which, by the way, won another award in October. This is Nate picking up an International Downtown Association Placemaking Award in Baltimore. Do you remember the big intersection print in the corner of First and Salvador? Well, we had to do repaving of the street, so we wiped it out. But working with the city, we were able to reinstall this beautiful art crosswalk. Raul is getting a little help from Jorge there, cutting the ribbon. And this is done by the same artist who had done the original intersection print. Safety and security is key for you, so it's also key for the PBID. We hire off-duty San Jose police officers to work the downtown. And we were so delighted to support Villas on the Park and collect supplies for the new formerly homeless individuals who are able to move into those apartments just north of St. James Park. We did learn that we didn't get enough dog supplies because they all have dogs moving in. It was really cool. And you know, just hats off to the city and the county. They've made so much progress this year on homeless. I know we all taxed ourselves with Measure A a couple years ago. Those resources are rolling in, and we're getting things done like the sleeping cabins, the bridge housing out on Mayberry Road. And I think it's a collective testimony that somebody like Donnie, who slept on our sidewalks for years, now has a beautiful apartment at 2nd Street Studio. And Donnie wants us to know, who got to know him over the years, he's doing great. It's always hard for me to pick my favorite event of the year. Women's March is getting up there for me. I thought First Fridays went up a notch, especially with Museum of Art participating now. You know, Viva Calle is just such a blast to be pedaling the streets. I thought the Dia Parade was weird and wonderful this year. That got a vote. And then, you know, it's always a feathery delight to hit people with pillows in the Paseo. But I'm giving my vote to the Bad Plus second show at San Jose Jazz Winterfest at Cafe Stritch. Close second to Downtown Ice because it's just bright lights, big city. It's got, you know, cool graphics. Teenagers love it. It's the best use of palm trees in the city, and drag queens like it too. Well, downtown is going to keep changing. It's forever changing. We couldn't do it without you, the residents, our members, the employees, the people that work here, our volunteers. Especially couldn't do it without the Downtown Association staff. Please remember to keep giving downtown love, and have a happy holiday.